Hi, I'm Evie. I'm an accountant who believes in saving for the future and building security brick by brick. 5 years ago, I married Mark, my college sweetheart, and we promised to build our dreams together. Babe, I think we're just 6 months away from having enough for the down payment on that colonial in Westbrook, I told Mark one evening while reviewing our budget spreadsheet. The home we'd been eyeing had 3 bedrooms, one for us, one for a future nursery, and one for a home office. That's amazing. You're a financial wizard, Mark smiled, kissing my forehead before heading to the kitchen. I told you we'd get there faster than we thought. Our plan had always been crystal clear. Save aggressively for 5 years. Buy our forever home, then start trying for kids. We both contributed equal percentages from our paychecks to our joint savings account. Mark worked at First National Bank, while I crunched numbers at Davis & Associates. One Tuesday night, I was paying our monthly bills when something caught my eye. Our savings account balance was $3,200 lower than I'd calculated. I double-checked my numbers, then scrolled through our transaction history. Hey, did you make a withdrawal from savings last week? There's $3,200 missing. Mark barely looked up from his phone. Oh yeah, I had to help Diane with some car repairs. Emergency situation. Meant to tell you. My stomach tightened. That's a lot for car repairs. And why from our house fund? It's just money, Evie. She's my sister. She'll pay us back eventually. I dropped it that night, but something felt off. Mark had always been generous with his sister, but our savings had been sacred territory. The next day during lunch, I pulled up our online banking history. My heart sank as I scrolled back through months of transactions. $2,000 in January, $1,800 in November, $2,500 in September, all transfers to Diane Wells. I dug deeper, going back years. The pattern was clear as day. For 3 years, Mark had been making regular transfers to his sister from our joint savings. That evening, I waited until after dinner. I need to ask you something important. Have you been regularly giving money to Diane from our savings? Mark's face flushed. She's had some rough patches. Nothing to worry about. I found transfers going back 3 years, Mark. This isn't just helping through a rough patch. Look, she's family. What do you want me to do? Let her struggle? I want you to be honest with me. How much have you given her total? I don't know, maybe 15 grand. It's not a big deal. I showed him my spreadsheet detailing every transaction. It's $45,000, Mark. $45,000 of our house fund, our future, given away without even discussing it with me. His silence confirmed everything. For 3 years, my husband had been betraying our dreams, one transaction at a time. I couldn't sleep that night. $45,000, nearly half of what we'd saved for our future. I needed to know more, so I called Leo, my friend who worked at Mark's bank. Can we meet for coffee? It's important. 2 hours later, Leo slid into the booth across from me at Riverside Cafe, concern etched on his face. This is seriously messed up, Evie. I checked the transfers. It's been happening like clockwork, usually right after your deposits hit. Did Mark ever say anything about these transfers at work? Leo shifted uncomfortably. He told everyone Diane had medical bills. That's why nobody questioned it. Bank staff tends to be understanding about family emergencies. Medical bills? She's posted beach selfies from Cancun 3 times this year. I showed Leo Diane's Instagram feed. Luxury hotels, designer shopping bags, spa retreats. Look at the dates. This Bali trip? Right after a $3,800 transfer. This Louis Vuitton bag? 1 week after Mark gave her $2,000. My coworker Rachel joined us during her lunch break. As a former paralegal, she always had practical advice. First, document everything. Screenshots of transfers, dates, amounts. Second, protect what's left. You need to consider separate accounts. Isn't that extreme? We're still married. Rachel leaned forward. Evie, he's given away 45 grand without your consent. That's financial infidelity. That evening, I confronted Mark again, evidence in hand. Medical bills? Really? Is that what Bali spas are called now? Mark's face fell. It's complicated. Diane struggles with what? Having too much of our money? I saw her Instagram, Mark. All those trips and shopping sprees were funded by us. She's my sister. Dad always taught us to take care of family. And what am I? I'm your wife. We had plans, dreams we built together. The next day, I drove to Diane's condo, the one with brand new furniture while we still had IKEA basics. We need to talk about the money Mark's been giving you. Diane rolled her eyes. He told me you'd freak out eventually. It's just money, Evie. Mark wants to help me. Not my fault you're so uptight about finances. It was our house fund, money we saved together. Please, Mark makes good money. You'll get your boring little house eventually. I was so angry I drove straight to their father's place. Surely Tyler would see reason. Tyler, did you know Diane's been taking our savings? Tyler barely looked up from his newspaper. Mark's just being a good brother. Diane deserves nice things after everything she's been through. Been through? She's been through luxury resorts and shopping sprees? Tyler scoffed. Don't be dramatic. Family supports family. Mark understands that. On my way home, Diane texted me photos from her latest emergency, a week-long stay at a 5-star resort in Maui. Thanks for the vacay funds. Maybe you guys should try having fun sometime instead of being so boring with your money. I gripped my steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was betrayal on every level. By morning, my sadness had hardened into resolve. I called Janet Winters, the financial advisor Rachel recommended. Legally, funds in a joint account belong equally to both parties. You have every right to protect your portion. But is it wrong to move money without telling him? It feels sneaky. Has he consulted you before giving $45,000 to his sister? Document everything. Text messages, transfers, receipts, anything that proves this pattern. I spent days building my case, printing bank statements and highlighting every unauthorized transfer. Leo provided additional transaction details that painted an even clearer picture. There's something else, Evie. Last week, Mark inquired about a home equity loan against your current apartment. We don't even own it. We're still renting. He was exploring options, mentioned something about helping with a down payment. When Mark suggested hosting a family dinner that weekend, I saw my opportunity. I placed my phone on record and tucked it under a stack of napkins on the sideboard before Mark, Diane, and Tyler arrived. Dinner conversation flowed normally until Diane brought up real estate. So I found the perfect condo in Riverdale Heights. 2 bedrooms, rooftop access, doorman building. Sounds expensive, I commented, passing the potatoes. That's why I have my amazing brother, right, Mark? Mark glanced at me nervously. Let's talk about this later, Di. Why? Evie knows you helped me out. It's just another 30 grand for the down payment. You said the house fund could wait another year. My fork clattered against my plate. Another 30,000? On top of the 45 you've already taken. Tyler cleared his throat. Evie, family supports family. Your house isn't going anywhere. Actually, the Colonial we wanted sold last week. The one we could have bought if our savings hadn't gone to Diane's vacations. Those trips were for my mental health, Diane snapped. You wouldn't understand since you've never experienced real stress. After they left, Mark tried damage control. Look, I was going to tell you, like you told me about the other 45,000, I'm going to bed. The next morning, while Mark was at work, I visited 3 banks. At the third, I opened a new account in my name only. With Leo's final confirmation of the extent of Mark's deception, I made my move. I transferred $78,000, our remaining savings, into my new personal account. I left $100 in the joint account, just enough to avoid automatic closure. That evening, Mark burst through the door, face flushed, waving his phone. What the hell? The account's empty. Were we hacked? I just got a low balance alert. I calmly sipped my tea. No hack. I transferred it to my personal account. You did what? You can't just take our money? Actually, I can. Just like you've been doing for 3 years. That was different. Diane needed... I have every transfer documented, Mark. $75,000 would have been half of what we saved together. But I took a bit extra to cover the interest we lost. Mark paced the kitchen, pulling at his hair. This is insane. What am I supposed to tell Diane? She's counting on that down payment money. Tell her to check Expedia. I hear Bali has great deals this time of year. Mark slept on the couch that night. By morning, I had printed out my entire evidence folder. Bank statements, screenshots, even the transcript of our family dinner recording. We need to talk. I've laid everything out on the dining table. Mark's eyes widened as he flipped through the pages. This looks like a court case. Because it will be. I'm filing for divorce next week. Divorce? Evie, come on. We can work through this. I placed my wedding ring beside the papers. For 3 years, you funneled our future to your sister behind my back. Then you planned to give her $30,000 more without even mentioning it. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a deliberate, ongoing betrayal. Mark dropped to his knees, grabbing my hands. Please, I'll cut Diane off completely. I'll get the money back. I'll do anything. There's nothing left to fix. I already called a lawyer. Our phones buzzed simultaneously. The neighborhood group chat was exploding. Rachel had posted screenshots of Diane's vacation photos alongside donation requests she'd made claiming medical emergencies. Your sister didn't just take our money. She scammed our entire friend circle for medical treatments while posting bikini pics from resorts. Mark frantically called Diane, putting her on speaker. Everyone's seen the posts. What the hell were you thinking? So what? Who cares what those boring suburbanites think? Just tell them Evie's lying. Are you serious right now? I might lose my job over this. Later that afternoon, Tyler showed up unannounced, his face ashen. I got a call from my financial advisor. Someone's been taking money from my retirement account. I raised an eyebrow. Let me guess, Diane? She had access for emergencies. She's withdrawn almost $90,000 over 2 years. I'm practically bankrupt. Still think family should support family at all costs? Tyler collapsed into our armchair. I always thought you were too hard on her. I was wrong. The divorce moved swiftly. My documentation proved financial misconduct, and the judge awarded me 70% of our assets. Mark didn't contest it. He was too busy dealing with the professional fallout. They suspended me pending investigation, he texted 3 weeks later. The bank doesn't want someone who mishandled personal finances managing client money. 6 months later, I closed on a small townhouse. Not the colonial we'd dreamed of, but mine free and clear. I was unpacking when the doorbell rang. Mark stood there looking thinner with a small potted plant. Housewarming gift. And I wanted to say again how sorry I am. I've been in therapy, working on my boundaries with Diane. I think if we just stop. I'm glad you're getting help, but that chapter of my life is closed. Can't we at least be friends? 5 years together has to count for something. It counted for $45,000. Goodbye, Mark. I shut the door and returned to arranging my new living room. Through the window, I could see Mark still standing there, plant in hand. Once, that sight might have weakened my resolve. Now, it only confirmed I'd made the right choice. The next day, Leo texted that Mark had taken a job at a small credit union in another state. Diane had moved back in with Tyler, who now kept her on a strict allowance. Their posts about financial abuse got laughed off our community pages. Meanwhile, my savings account was growing again, this time with no one helping themselves to my future but me. Would you have done what Evie did by taking all the remaining savings? Or would you have split it 50-50ths despite Mark's betrayal? Was her revenge justified, or did she cross a line? If you enjoyed this story of financial betrayal and sweet revenge, hit that like button and subscribe for more dramatic stories just like this one. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one.